What is up, everybody? It is Alman here. Welcome back to another video. And guys, today I really want to make a video on Spider-Man. It's been a week since we last saw it, of course, at Sony's presser event. It closed off the show. It was completely amazing. And yeah, so instead of making a video right after all the news kind of broke, I figured I'd wait a little bit since I was also busy, but also just to make a big video talking about everything we've learned in the past week. Because, you know, even past the press conference itself, there's been many interviews and panels by like Shawn Layden and Brian, who works at Insomniac. This gave us a ton of new information on the game, which is very, very exciting. So I figured, you know, why not make a big analysis kind of mashup video, giving you guys all the news that we learned so far. And a lot of it is pretty exciting, if I had to say so myself. So yeah, I guess let's just go right into it. Of course, you guys know I'm covering Spider-Man on my channel, so if you guys want to subscribe, make sure to stay up to date on all the Spider-Man news. And yeah, so going into the biggest piece of news that I'm sure a lot of you probably have heard by now, and this is the interview that Shawn Layden did about a couple days ago. And in the interview, he pretty much states that, you know, going over the criticisms of the event, of the press conference itself, he said that all the games that they showed off, 2018 dates, are going to be coming in within the first half of the year. So that's, of course, January to June 30th, I guess you could say. And, well, Spider-Man, as you guys know, got a 2018 date, which is very, very exciting. That obviously, you know, assumes that Spider-Man's going to be coming in the first half, as Shawn Layden can pretty much confirm there. Of course, that's leading to Days Gone and games like Detroit, you know, possibly coming in the second half. But going back into Spider-Man, you know, this is very exciting. Of course, I've always, you know, had a gut feeling that this was going to be like, you know, kind of like a summer title. Spider-Man always seems to be that. Heck, look at the movie coming out next month. It's going to be coming out in July. So really, this just tells us that this is going to be coming out, you know, early summer. And well, if I had to put a date on it or put a month on it, I'd say either late May or early June. It possibly could be late June, but I don't see them wanting to, you know, it could be a Crash Bandicoot situation where they get this game out a couple weeks after E3, or maybe even like the week of E3 as ARMS did for Nintendo. But, you know, of course, that whole month of June, I'd put a block on it and say that's when Spider-Man's coming out. You know, of course, a lot of fans were disappointed about the game presumably not coming out, you know, this year. Well, not presumably, it's pretty much confirmed now because of the 2018 date. Very, very, you know, disappointing to some fans who expected that. I myself, I've always said 2018, just because looking at Insomniac's past track record of, you know, how they want to take their time, how they have their biggest team ever on this game. They want to make this game good, and honestly, give them time, because, you know, we don't want another amazing Spider-Man situation. We want a good Spider-Man game, and, you know, coming off the gameplay demo, a lot of it looks really, really good. So going off of that, you know, they've obviously said that Peter Parker is going to be a big emphasis in this story. It's going to be more about Peter Parker as Spider-Man, and kind of when those two worlds combine, and how, you know, he knows the big villain as Mr. Negative, but he also knows him as Martin Lee because of Aunt May. It's very, very, you know, personal to him. Of course, going after this, I want to talk about some negatives I have about the game, and really there's only one that I have like kind of like a little issue with. I did have one about the combat, but the combat's kind of growing on me as the time goes along. I've watched this gameplay demo maybe like 5 to 10 times. Keep going back to it. It's so satisfying to watch. Trying to get every nook and cranny of detail they have, you know, been able to squish into this gameplay demo. And, well, you know, the combat's kind of, you know, kind of grow on me, but, you know, the other big con I have with it, it's not really a big con, it's just the quick time events. Now, this is not one that I really still have an issue with, because, you know, looking at games like God of War, they do them right, and hopefully Spider-Man can do them right. Of course, looking at the combat, it seems very freely. You know, you could choose how to tackle enemies with the environment. You know, you can make up your mind how you want to tackle each situation. Want to go in stealthily, want to go swinging in, and, you know, using your abilities, you can do that as well. But, you know, as long as they don't do too many quick time events, then I'll be fine. But honestly, that's just an issue that I have from the demo itself. But I'm sure the full game won't even have that issue. Of course, there is like that whole thing, you know, how else are you going to be able to do all these, you know, cool abilities while saving the crane from people? Of course, if they let that up to the player, you know, the player could obviously fail because they don't have much time. So it's kind of, you know, it kind of gives that spider sense, you know, in slow motion kind of epicness to it, which, you know, I guess it's like kind of like a mixed thing, but of course that could possibly improve on the development cycle. So nothing, you know, too big there. Just figured I'd give some of my mixed things. Of course, the villains that we did really see were Kingpin, you know, of course, locked up in jail when he's talking to on the phone, the main thugs you saw in the beginning of the demo, and then later on, kind of like that second half with the helicopter, you know, they introduced Martin Lee as Mr. Negative. Of course, Spider-Man has that witty remark, saving the bad guys from other bad guys, not how we expected this day to go. Pretty witty of Peter Parker himself, of course, giving off that charm as usual. Going on to some more details that weren't really revealed at the event, but more in interviews, and kind of this one's kind of on Twitter. A fan asked Insomniac, the official Insomniac Twitter, he said, will there be alternate suits? Of course, I love the main suit, but will there be alternate suits from you to choose? Now, this is not like really a big detail, but it is pretty cool. We're going to have alternate suits you can wear, which is going to be very, very exciting. So if you guys want to roam the city in different suits instead of just the white one, or I guess you could say the white emblem suit that, you know, that's kind of infamous in all the trailers now, you can, of course, do that. Now, going into the suit itself, you know, a lot of people have mixed reactions onto it. Mine, myself, is kind of like, you know, I didn't really like it at first, but it's kind of growing on me as we saw the gameplay demo. I kind of like how they're doing a unique aspect to Spider-Man, and they're not really going to be copying any storylines from the comics. They're going to kind of do their original kind of thing, which is very, very good. Of course, you don't want to be replaying the things you've learned from the comics. You kind of want to be, making up your own story and kind of have your own take on the Spider-Man universe, which is very, very respectable of Insomniac to do. Going to be really, really cool. So yeah, I guess the Spider-Man suit has been growing on me. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Do you guys like the suit so far? I gotta say, it looks really, really cool. It's gonna grow on me. I feel like it will. And of course, they said that fans will come to love it and know it as their Spider-Man, so I think they're very confident that fans will come to love it as their own, and that's a very, very good sign coming from Insomniac. Of course, going on to the map, they also talked about the map a little bit in some interviews, and they said it's going to be 4 to 6 times larger than Sunset Overdrive. Of course, Insomniac's Xbox One exclusive that they made back in 2014. Very, very good game. I played it myself, so, going off my past experience with Sunset Overdrive, the map was pretty big. Insomniac has not really done that many, big open world games. Of course, they focus on platformers, but I gotta say, going back to the map, it was pretty big, so, knowing it as 4 to 6 times larger, of course, that's gonna be pretty big for Spider-Man because, while it is more about the quality than the quantity of the map, you really want to have that sense of scale being Spider-Man, and that's really important to, the superhero himself. Of course, Insomniac is putting together their biggest team ever for Spider-Man PS4, trying to give it that labor of love that they always have for their games, and especially you can see it coming out in this one. They've always said that this game is made by fans for fans, so that's very, very good for fans of the games, not to worry too much. That's very, very good. Sorry about my phone here. I guess going over some last, things, the set pieces looked really, really good. Honestly, that crane set piece looks really, really cool, and it looks a lot bigger than anything you've seen so far in Homecoming from any of the ads. And yeah, I guess it just shows how the tech and the industry has gone in terms of gaming, just how you can, really represent these whole epic scale and set pieces in gaming. And it's going to be awesome to be able to finally play like a Spider-Man where stuff is just going down and just playing it on current generation hardware. That's going to be very, very awesome. Of course, Spider-Man PS4, obviously a PS4 exclusive. So yeah, going off to like the later part of the demo, I guess I'll just go over the web slinging. Of course, web slinging has been confirmed to be able to cling onto walls and buildings, so that's very good. No more, shooting up your webs up into the sky and hoping the clouds catch it. It's going to be very, very nice to be able to kind of have like an accurate kind of Spider-Man movement going through the city and not just cheaping it out by, clinging to the clouds. Very, very good. Of course, the normal abilities that we saw in the demo are returning. Of course, running up the wall, something that you've always been able to do in Spider-Man games. And well, yeah, I guess I'll go over one of the new abilities and new gadgets that he has that we haven't really seen in any other Spider-Man game, I guess you could say. I played the original ones, I can't really remember it. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments down below. But he has now, kind of I guess, a sensor Spider-Man little web thing. Of course, you saw in the beginning of the demo, he shoots it up, kind of lures the guy into his trap, and the trap had like a little bit of sensor, so as he tripped it, I guess you could say it's kind of like a trip mine. It sets out the trap, pulls him in, and it's kind of just like a booby trap for the, different ways that you can approach the combat, which is very, very good. Of course, stressing how, you want to encounter combat the way you want to do it. And yeah, so I guess the last thing to say about combat is they confirmed, no character, no bad guy is going to be able to die. You're not going to be able to kill people as Spider-Man, which is going to be very, very faithful. Of course, Spider-Man doesn't kill, as most superheroes, as you guys know. And yeah, I guess a lot of people were worried about that is, the guy was kind of flying off from the demo, and you had an option to pull him back in, so it's a good thing it's mandatory to keep people alive, really keeps it true and faithful to Spider-Man. And yeah, so I guess I'll go over the last thing, and that's Miles Morales is returning, and he's going to be in this game. Of course, he's kind of new to the comics, I guess you could say in the past 5 to 6 years that he's appeared in the comics. And of course, you guys know him as Spider-Man, takes over after Peter Parker, and yeah, I guess that's kind of like a little tease at the end. Of course, I'm not sure if it's going to be a little Easter egg in the game, or if he's going to actually have a significant part in the story. I'm hoping for the latter because that would be really, pretty cool. But yeah, I guess that's just everything that they showed off in this, past week. It's been kind of like a crazy past week, full of Spider-Man interviews, Spider-Man news, and of course that epic, juicy 8-minute gameplay demo that we got at the Sony press conference. So yeah, guys, let me know what you guys think about Spider-Man PS4. I never really had a video talking about it yet, so I kind of want to know what you guys feel about it. How are you guys feeling going into 2018? How are you guys feeling? I guess the next time we're going to see this game might be at PSX. Of course, as the game's getting closer to launch, we're going to get a lot more news for the game, so hopefully we're not going to have to wait a year again. I definitely expect to see it at least before the end of the year wraps up. But yeah, guys, I've been online. Thank you guys so much for watching the video. Make sure to subscribe if you want to keep up to date on Spider-Man news, and I guess I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out.